All right. State of mind. Um, if you like what you see, hit the little button. Okay. I'm laughing a lot because I'm gonna be look, this interview, I'm gonna be laughing. Sorry, man. Hold on. This is not gonna work. This interview is gonna be whatever. We'll see what happens. This is a very off the cuff. Is that how you say it? Off the cuff interview with my friend, close friend, for many years. Um, oh, the three-time Emmy-winning
God, you got.
actor.
Oh,
No, I met him on a show called All My Children, and let me just get to the point without giggling. He is acting wise, no, funny wise. One of the three funniest people I know. One is Tony Geary, the other is Steve Burton, and this guy. And acting wise, I put him up like Jack Lemmon. You probably don't know. Oh yeah, you probably know who Jack Lemmon is. He could do drama great and comedy great, and that's who this person is. So enough kissing his ass. Uh,
no, keep going, man.
oh, keep
I'm
going. He
digging it.
says.
I wanted to drink coffee
Oh, I didn't bring my coffee. I didn't
out
get
of the
my
message
coffee.
mug, man.
Damn it. All right. His name is Michael Knight, and he played Tad. And I'll get into that story later. Let's just get into
We'll
it.
just get into it.
How you doing, man?
This is just too weird. I love you. I gotta say, I'm happy. I'm happy that we're finally sitting down to do this. I didn't want to string you along anymore because it was one thing after another. First was code, but it was really, really important. You're very important to me. But it's just so weird to be.
Don't.
Us, the two of us, we've known each other since we were kids, since we were babies, just trying to be, now we'll get into it. There's serious stuff to talk about, but there's a lot of love, a lot of years,
No, let
a
me tell you.
lot of time, a lot of road.
Let me just tell a little story about. I was 14, 13. I was sick at home, and I didn't know anything about soap operas. But I put it on TV on, and there's two soaps that I watched, which was General Hospital and All My Children at that time, and I ended up being on both, right?
Oh my God.
Yeah, but the big person that I loved was Tad. Tad the
Yeah,
cat.
God, the eyebrows grow that way,
I
man.
was
I can't help it. I
what?
was lucky, man. We were all lucky, but I was I had no idea. And I'm like you. I didn't know from soap operas. I ended up in bed. I messed myself up. I fell up into a creek. I fell off a rope ladder into a creek, and I remember watching. God, man, I can't even like 73, something like that. I remember watching all my children for a couple of weeks, and I totally spaced out. And the first day on set, where you run around, they introduce you like 5,000
Yeah.
people, and he's in one ear and
What had you done before that?
I know I was right.
Nothing.
I was right out of no, I was right out of school. I'd done like a movie of the week, maybe, and some commercial work and stuff like that. But I was like, when I got the gig, I was like you. When I got the gig, I was like 22 years old. So I was like
Wow.
right out of circle in the square, and I had no idea how lucky I was. Seriously, because they put me. If you think about it, back and you remember a lot of these people. It was like number one,
Darnell.
God, Darnell, Debbie, Marcy Walker. I mean, they threw me into the pot with Marcy Walker, Debbie Darnell, Kim Delaney, Dorothy Lyman. I mean, it was the storyline was amazing. And I remember what I don't always like for you. I had no idea what I'd gotten into, and they shipped us out to do AM Chicago with Oprah before she was Oprah. Okay, and I remember we just say, hey, let's go down to Rush Street. Let's go to dinner. And I was with Kim Delaney and Dorothy Lyman. It was like me and one of the Beatles. I'd never seen anything like that. That kind of audience
Damn.
response. And then, they stuck me with, they didn't stick me. They gave me the chance to do the storyline with Marcy and her mother, where I was a
Yeah, I
kid or
remember
sleeping with.
that. I re-
Guys used to walk up to me, sir. I'm a lot like that. Be like, get some therapy, dude. This is not normal. But it was fun, man. It was back in the day, and
but did they let you ad lib?
No, but they did. What they did do. There was Jackie Badman who was responsible for that because they had. I remember. I have the perfect shirt for it because I was like, I remember.
Yeah,
I remember
yeah,
I was
yeah.
this guy. I
Yes,
was like this, and
yes.
I remember I couldn't. They would. They. I had these. I was supposed to be God's vengeance. I say God's vengeance on Marcy Walker as for being evil to my sister, and they used to give me these kind of like, hey, how's that steak lines like? I really dig you, baby. I'm not feeding you a line. I'm giving it to you straight. And I went to Jack. Can we swear a little?
Oh, you can swear. Yeah.
Yeah, okay. I was like, I went to Jackie and said, man, I can't say this and not sound like a total asshole. I can't. And she said, well, what do you want to, what can I do? What's the point? What can you do? And I said, well, if he's got to be such a jerk, can I make him funny?
Yeah.
So it wasn't that they let me ad lib all the
Oh,
time,
they just wrote
but
that good stuff?
they wrote it like they wrote like 60% of it, and it would be like, or I could they would let me get away with a take where it was kind of like, and you know this about acting, I would love to brag about you. You're the one of two actors I've ever known who've done soaps who are card carrying members of the Actors Studio, which
Mm.
is a big deal.
Yeah.
Anyway, but it's so hard to do.
Yeah, it's very hard. Yeah.
But to get back to where we just see, he's
And
like,
good looking too.
yeah, I don't want to brag. Oh, you're talking about you.
Yeah.
Um, but to be eccentric, I don't know how you. I would ask you because you've done it for. Because I remember when you called me up and said, "Oh man, they gave me a shot at General Hospital,"
Yeah.
and I was like, I knew the minute you went in and you were you. They were just. It was like the next thing you know, it's your life. But you know as well as I do, it's the eccentricity that we bring. It's the
Yes.
thing they don't expect. It's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
they're writing this stuff at a dead run. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So by the time they hand it to us, they rely on us for two things. They rely on us to sort of cut 50% of the melodrama out of it, bring the reality to it, but also bring the eccentricity to it.
Yeah.
So we rely on each other a lot.
Yeah.
We rely on relationships and stuff.
But Tad cheated on it all the time. That's why.
They let me
But,
get away with a lot of. They let you know what
but,
they
but
let.
why is that so popular to cheat like that?
Well, no, I think the reason they let me get away, they let me do a lot of sitcom stuff, like a lot of sitcom takes. I used to steal like because remember we used to have this thing. We used to go around but the tag is like, could you give us more air on the tag? And it'd be like, the tag is for the end of a scene. It's like sitting there
Yeah.
with dead air, going, "Hey, tune on Monday." And as an actor, you're going, "How do I fill this?" So, because Tad was a funny character, it'd be like, "Oh man, let's." They let me get away with a lot of like Jack Tripper from.
Like, give me a line. Give me.
Oh, it wasn't so much a line. It would be a take. It would be like a look. Like, and I
know,
remember
but you
doing
said some.
something from like, I remember doing a Carol O'Connor take from All in the Family. Just kind of like, just,
Yeah.
just being
I
in
love
pain.
that, man.
And so that stuff, I think that's why I was lucky because, it kind of, wherever you can change the format, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because it's very stock. People, people, people love people love to watch something where you give them a little something you don't expect.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And
Yes.
that's
And when I came into the hospital, I I fought this note for 2 years, which is more voice, because I came in going, "Hey, what are you doing?" And they just couldn't deal with it. And I'm like, I'm not changing that.
I remember one of the one of the funniest conversations I ever had was with you, and I think God bless rest his soul, man. I think it was Henry Kaplan. And you were Nico. You were doing Nico. Do people remember Nico? Can I say like
yeah, Nico was Nico was
Nico?
cool.
Because I can remember you were a baby, man. You were starting out, but you still had a lot of the stuff, the instincts that you always had. Because I remember you having a fight during Red Chairs, during Notes, with Jerry Kaplan, because he was saying, "Are you lying to her?" And you go, "Well, yeah, I'm lying to her." And it's like, do you want us to know? You asked the audience to know, and you were like, if you don't know, it's not my problem. I mean, you're supposed to know the story. He goes, no. And I was like, we want to know. We want to see that you're lying. And you were like, well, if you can see that I'm lying, she can see that I'm lying. So it was like, and you two were going around. He goes like, I mean, you finally boiled it down. I said, Henry, you want me to be a bad actor? For you want me to send something up, and I don't remember how it resolved, but
that's the later Kaplan where we liked each other.
In the beginning, it was funny though.
He was tough.
He scared me. The first note Henry ever gave me was, "I don't know what you're doing. Go back to acting school." That was the first time he talked to me. My first day on set, you know.
Wow.
And after that, I mean, you know, you work with the guy for like, next thing you know, 10 years has gone by, and he couldn't give me a note without me cracking up. He would sit down with the wand, you know, he'd look at me and
That one.
the wand, he'd sit down and they'd open the book and they'd put it in his lap and he'd look up at the cross to set it and you would go,
Exactly.
like this, you know.
What? But he's a good guy.
Oh, he was a sweetheart, man. Henry, God bless him. Anyway, I'm sorry to get off though.
No, you're not
You're
getting
gonna
off.
edit the hell out of this, bet.
No, you're not. We're not going to edit because you're Michael Knight and you're
Michael Ena. You know, you're one of two people. I love this. You're one of two people in my life. I was thinking about this when I was driving over. It's like one of two people in my life who call me Mike. You and Katie, and the only people in my life who call me Mike, and it sounds good coming out of your mouth. Everybody else, they say Mike. It's like,
And you know what you did? It's amazing.
what?
Okay. Everybody calls me Mo.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Now, when I was growing up, there was nobody. It was Maurice.
Yeah.
There's no Mo. And then you called me Mo on all my children. Okay. Mike was cool. That's fine. He's
I'll let him live. Yeah.
Yeah. And for now on GH, it's Mo. Everybody, the crew. Sometimes I hear it and I'm like,
Well, see, I don't know that I know this about you because with me, you live to make me laugh. It's like you and I have a relationship. It's like, and you've been doing it. And I wish I could say that one of the best things this guy ever did is we had to come in. I was just talking about it, 7:30 every day, rain or shine. If you were under the age of 30, when we were still doing the block dress and tape, you always said the 7:30. He used to do this character called Bad Actor. And Bad Actor was an actor that could not give a good line reading to save his life, and it was kind of this little act of rebellion. But it used to just
hey, Cecily, I think you're great.
And you'd hit the wrong syllable every time. You know what I mean? She's gonna die.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, we got to get there quick.
We gotta get there.
She was like,
hurry up.
But I used to love Bad Actor. So our relationship is totally based in humor. So I didn't know. To me, another story I'll tell about, this guy used to leave me messages. I used to do voice. Most people don't know. I wonder if people know how funny you are because you're very private.
Right.
You know what I mean?
But I've changed.
When you're with people,
when I care about,
when you're with family, you're incredibly funny.
Yeah.
This guy used to leave me messages on my machine. As I wish I'd saved it. As a matter of fact, and he didn't tell me. And he would do an entire character in a voice, and I thought it was either somebody was being stalked or it was a wrong number. And then he didn't clue me in until the next day he was at work, and then it stuck, and then I knew it'd do it. So for me, you'll always be Momo. You'll be Mo.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like, so when people say no, it's Maurice, I'm like, oh, okay, it's important now.
No, but now it's like Mo everywhere. But you know, I was actually stalked in New York when by this man who I was friends with, and he would leave me voices.
So you thought you'd pass along?
He was schizophrenic. So, but it was scary. It wasn't to be funny. It was like, you know, hi, Maurice.
You don't remember? You used to come to my. Remember, you used to come to my room and show me the fan letters from prison.
Oh yeah. Nico's.
You used to get some wild ones, man. You were like, oh
yeah.
God. So the weird side of the.
Do you know that Paula just told me this, and I guess I remember. I asked you to hang out with Paula one day.
To hang out with Paula? I mean, like,
yeah, because she didn't have any friends and anything.
Oh,
Is that
in
true?
New York.
And I was, you know.
No, you were very, and you.
It wasn't like
you were so sweet because she was a kid. She was out there. No, you were out there in Jersey. You used to commute, which blew me away.
Yeah,
I don't know how you did that, but you were like, no, it's like, and Paula was a baby. Paula was like 16, 17 years old.
No, she was like 19.
Was she? No, how old were you?
24.
I was 20.
I was 24.
Okay, I was 28. You were 24.
And
All right.
25,
So 19. So, and I remember it's just like, oh, like the Tower of Power. Another thing I owe him. It's like,
yeah, that was.
You got tickets to Tower of
That was
Power,
cool.
and it was just I don't. Was it?
But she
Was
said she hung out with you. Now you're,
I'm trying to remember, maybe, but I
and
thought,
I remember, but not remember. But it would have been a sweet thing, like, Mike, can you just hang out with Paula because she's so alone all the time, and I
oh
feel,
man, she was a sweetie,
yeah,
and I just gorgeous.
I know it sounds like,
Like when you said it, it's like she asked me, you asked me to hang out with your girlfriend. What kind of show we doing, man? Your wife's hot.
okay. I know she's hot. That's funny as hell. So, do you remember that you went into a casting? I'm giggling like crazy. You went into a casting office and you just won an Emmy. Is this a true story? I think you told me, maybe not. And the casting director said, "Oh, you want a daytime Emmy? That means you can drink coffee and
You
memorize
could,
lines
yeah, you can walk and talk and
for
drink
big
coffee at the
people in
same.
soap operas."
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
right.
yeah, yeah. Oh yeah,
Wow.
yeah. It's funny that see, and I hope you wind back in this conversation about that too, because you and I both know what it's like, because to be a soap star, or as I call it, aging pop icon, is kind of a double-edged sword, because especially if you love acting, which I know you do. I know you do. I
Mhm.
know, no, 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 I know you do, because you're so good at it. Y- it's like they shove you in a box for years and years and years and years, and it's done it's done on a budget, and it's done on an incredible pace, and it's like sink or swim, and it's just like it's weird, because if you earn your stripes in this medium, there's an old joke. Everybody says we don't die, we just change shows. It's just like, because the producers need to know, if they hire somebody, like, okay, here's the storyline, go, and they know that you're going to
Right.
give them something that they'll be proud selling. But the fact is like, it's the easiest job in the world to make fun of. I mean, as an actor, I mean, how many
Mhm.
times can you have amnesia, or get your kids stolen by gypsies, or we were doing vampires at one point, and it's just
Yeah.
being like, we brought Darnell back from the dead 3 times. By the third time, Dixie, they brought Dixie, my ex-wife, they brought her back from the dead so many times they didn't even explain it the last time.
Wow.
They just sent us off. So it's easy to make
I
fun of.
understand.
So you spent 20 years going, so 30 years going, God, if I could only get a shot, there's
I
like,
understand. But
um,
let's not fool anybody right now, Michael Knight. You are one of, I can't think of another actor who, on a soap, gets the lead of a studio movie.
oh,
Let's not fool anybody right now.
no, no, that was,
Okay?
but to see that went sideways, and it was like,
I
okay.
get it went sideways, but the fact that you got it, that nobody, I can't think of somebody that
I was
I,
one of the first. Well, no, because there were other people. The one played my sister, Saturday Night Fever, Tara. She got Saturday Night Fever, so it did
oh,
happen,
she
but it was
did?
rare in those days.
Okay,
But
rare.
then it started to happen. Then it started. There were breakout, because like Josh got win a date with Tad Hamilton. Then Sarah Michelle Gellar. Next thing you know, she was like.
All
It
right,
started to around
but
the. It
yours was a big studio movie.
was De Laurentiis.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
Now, take me through this. You get this movie. You're on
Yeah,
your Tad on the thing. You get this movie, and you're on cloud nine.
yeah.
Okay,
Unbelievable.
and you do it. I like the movie, to be honest with you. Movie didn't do well. What what happens to your psyche after that? You see how I went into that, like a real serious, like,
What happens? Just like you feel like shit. But I'll tell you a story, true story, okay?
oh
Because
my
like you're
god,
feeling all good about yourself. You're like,
right, right,
it's a date with an angel. It's like Splash with a
yeah, yeah, I get it.
like with an angel, right? So I'm feeling real good about myself, and it premiered in New York, and I think it was playing at 2 theaters, and one was on Third Avenue, and it's like I go in with like my girlfriend Ann at the time, and I don't know, a couple of family members or something like that. There were 16 people in the theater, and I knew half of them. And the manager walked up and he goes, "Congratulations on your movie. It's not going to be around long."
No,
Yeah, no, I mean, this is how I'm telling you, man. If you're in this business long enough,
yeah, yeah,
humility
yeah.
it's a destination, not an option. I remember talking to my manager. No, my agent, Sandy Bressler. God bless. I don't think
Oh yeah, yeah.
Sandy was just a great guy, and he called me up. He goes, "I got good news and bad news." I said, he said, "Tell me the bad news." He goes, "The movie really sucks." I said, "What's the good news?" He goes, "Nobody knows you're in it." So
This is
I
terrible.
know, and this is the thing about what we think is
No, I get it.
from the age of 22, I knew what it was like to pay the rent as an actor. Well, all of my friends were like really, a lot of my friends struggled for a long time to break out to get where they are. And so I knew what it was like to make a living. So I was always like, oh man, I could always go. And the second time around, they treated treated me like the second coming when I came back and when you and I started working together.
Yeah.
It was great, man. It was tremendous. It wasn't until
So that experience, see, I have a different stuff that I've been through takes me down like
it gets.
bad.
I absolutely. I still have, yeah. And we should talk. Like this is why I want to do this thing
Yeah.
with you because you really helped me out because you
Yeah.
talk very honestly about mental issues. And I have to say, there were two periods of my life, and you helped. I had two conversations with you. I remember that really helped me out this last time around because I've had two points in my life where like there's no way to other way to say it. Like the train came off the tracks. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like my particular thing is I suffer. I can suffer. I have suffered and sought care for um, obsessive compulsive
Yeah.
disorder, anxiety disorder, which is where uh, uh, basically a short story is a scenario, a theme, a story keeps running over and over and over and over in your mind, and it takes over everything
Oh yeah.
to the point where can't eat, can't sleep, really, really bad. Had it in New York at 40.
Hmm.
And then I had it during the middle of COVID. And that's when I called you
That's
because
right.
I called you and I said, "This is you. I'll never forget it because it's not like you gave me. You didn't say. You didn't try to convince me that what I wasn't suffering from wasn't real. That it wasn't there. That I should be somewhere else. It was never that. It was like I remember you saying, "Okay, have you gotten to this? Do you blah blah blah? Are you eating?" Just I remember, and I'll never forget. You said, "Does food taste like metal?" And I was like, "Holy shit!
Yeah, you got
Only somebody who's been there
yeah, you
in the
gotta know.
gift shop of hell
Yeah.
knows that." It's like absolutely. You get to the point where it starts to affect your nervous system, and food tastes like. I remember I'd have to make myself eat a couple of hot dogs at night just to get the protein in my body, and I think I dropped like 20 pounds. I mean, it just plunged. And the same thing with sleep. You go,
I
okay,
see.
let me know. You're going to do this. It's like, but you'll know. And I remember you said, Mike, you'll know when you're turning a corner when you sleep more than a couple hours. Because
Yeah,
what would
yeah.
happen is I'd go to sleep at like 10, I'd wake up at 12, and then I'd spend at 1 o'clock, and then I would spend like hours just lying there trying to fall asleep. And the minute you feel like you're floating down into the thoughts disassociate. Whale turns into a bus, turns into a what? That's how you're
Yeah.
turning into sleep. This scenario comes back in your head, and all of a sudden you get that shot of adrenaline, and it's like literally fight or flight. You're constantly
Oh,
just
you did that.
yeah, 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 yeah. But I remember talking to you, and you were saying, and you were. I remember just having a conversation with you. Um, it was such a relief because it was like you didn't try to talk me out of it. You told me about the signposts. You'll
Yeah.
know when this blood. So,
Yeah.
and I just thought that meant a lot. And I don't know if that had something to do with COVID, have been alone in the middle of COVID, doing whatever, feeling. I don't know how you, but I feel like the world's completely turned itself upside down. We're living through biblical shit nonstop.
Yeah.
And if you
Yeah.
have a proclivity for something,
What's that mean?
proclivity means like it can happen. It's an option in
Oh,
it's an option for you. It's like I suffer from
yeah.
dysthymia.
Yeah.
What I
Yeah.
basically I suffer from used to in the dark ages they call it melancholia, which is like I can go down.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I actually sought a doctor's care, and I was on medication for a while. I was very happy to do it because
How long were you on that?
uh 6 months.
Damn.
Yeah.
Then you got off.
Yeah.
And how you do it now?
I'm
You
I'm
seem better. You
I
seem better.
no, I'm much better. But the thing is, once you go through that, it's like it's once you take in that detour, you're aware that it's out there. Like I don't whistle in the dark anymore. I take for granted having a really, really good day. And when I have a really bad day, I'll say, well, at least I don't feel like I did that because you know what hell feels like.
That's
You
right.
know what I mean? And I think one of the things that I got from the support I got from you is I wanted to say, uh, man, I don't think it's as rare as people. It's hard. And I was tense before coming over. I didn't have much to say to you and stuff, to
Yeah.
be honest, on camera.
Yeah.
But I think I think life is a long road for everybody. And I think at some point, most people are going to hit a kind of psychological hiccup. And it's really important to be able to go, like, that was the cool thing about you. It's just like, you didn't try to, I don't know how to say it. You didn't try to talk me out of anything. You went, oh, is this happening? Is that happening? Oh,
Yeah.
good, because this means you're on the road to blah, blah, blah. And it was just somebody going, oh, yeah. If you can get it, because you had gotten out of it, you'd lived through it numerous times.
Numerous.
It's like, and I just want to say, it's all in here,
There you go.
and this is out there,
I had to listen.
and you're out there.
I had to
So find
promote
it.
that book during probably, aside from being in a mental institution, the second worst time of my life. Promote that on, and the sleeping that you said, I not too many people say it. I was terrified to sleep.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
I'd sit
yeah.
and I'd wake. So now I'm not sleeping at all, and I was shaking.
When the sun used to go down, I'd start to get panicky
Yes,
because it was
yes,
like you knew the rest of the world was going to be doing what the rest of the world does, which is
exactly.
going to sleep, and you were going to be lying there, and the voices get loud. I mean,
Yes.
that sense of panic. I don't know what it is about darkness. It's just like the walls close in, and if it's just you alone, that's why. I mean, after a
Well,
while, I'd turn on the TV, and I would just have like I'd have anything. I'd have
I
sit.
know, but with me, Michael, I would. It was two bad times at night, like you're talking about, and waking up in the morning because my family didn't get up till like 12 o'clock.
Uh,
So I'm alone. And during that period, you don't want to know the thoughts I had
yeah, yeah, yeah.
for 4 months. And, I just had Eric Braden last weekend, and he told me he had a panic attack during a Broadway play. I don't want to give it away now that he's on tomorrow, but he was scared, feared. And I said, then he finally did it. But I said, how long did it last? Because these are people that don't really like us. He said, about 2 hours. I said, think of that fear, like being in a ring with Mike Tyson
Staying.
for 24/7
Yeah,
for months.
yeah.
That's where it's mind boggling, right, Michael? I mean, you just go,
Well, the hard part is it also is the way it affects your family too. Because I don't know about you. I
yes.
was married at the time to Catherine. And Catherine, she didn't know how to deal with it.
Love Catherine.
Catherine was like the poor kid. She was out on an island, and she was the one that said to me, go see somebody, go get help. Because I was like, no, no, no. Like for months, I was like, not for months. It's not true. For weeks, I was like, I'm okay. I got this. I got this. I got this. And she's like, and she came, I remember that I was taking a bath, and she walked in, and I'd lost so much weight so fast that water was sitting in my shoulder, pulling hair. She
Yeah.
just looked at me. She started to cry. She said, go see somebody. You do not have this. Go see some. There's no shame in it. And that was it.
You know, that's interesting because I just had this conversation with somebody about the pandemic and what we're just talking about. And even Paula, who has been with me through pretty
Years.
much at all,
Yeah.
except for the first mental institution, I didn't know her. During the pandemic, and I got to be honest, I would go in there so many times saying, can't do it, cry, 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 can't do it, cry, cry, cry. That by the third month, fourth month, she won't admit it because she's too much of a sweet wife, but I really felt that she was
Almost.
Like
I don't know how to, yeah.
yeah, I don't
I
know.
don't, this is out of my pay grade.
Kind of,
Yeah.
Michael, kind of. And then I got help like you did and got through it. Um, but it's tough even for the people around it. And I said to somebody, because we're talking about suicide, because I'm really serious about doing uh, soon here.
I never had that ideation, though, I have
You
to
didn't
say.
have it?
I know. I'm not,
I a lot.
my thought was, the thought that I had was like, well, if the rest of my life was going to be like this, do I really want to live till I'm 80? But it was never like I'm going to take my life. I never
Yeah,
got there.
mine got, you know, figuring out how to do it and stuff like that. But this person said to me, why would you do that if you got family? I said, well, this is why it got really bad because I just started feeling I was a burden.
Mm,
So if I wasn't here,
mhm.
they would be
I'm
happy.
cutting them a break. Yeah, which is, that's the biggest lie you tell yourself. And I
Yeah,
just want to say, because you and I both know this, that all this stuff is. I also wanted to say this now. This is the reason I want to do this interview is like, I don't think I think, because when I went back and I had the last go around, this is like 2 year and a half ago, whatever. And I had a doctor that I dealt with before, and I got on the phone to coach her, and I said, coach her, he's like, blah blah blah, and I said, I just feel like a loser or whatever. I forgot what he said. She
yeah.
goes, do you have any idea how many? I don't have enough time, even with Zoom. I don't have enough time to cover all of the requests, the people I've got, the avalanche of people. You're not alone. I mean, the world is a very, very complex place right now, and it's getting more complex. Absolutely. This is maybe one of the hardest things you'll go through, but I want to say to people, it's doable.
It's doable,
It's
yes. And it
totally
does
doable.
pass. And you're better when you go through it. If only you're better because you say to yourself, I went through it.
Yeah. No, once you survive that, there's stuff that I don't
Yeah,
know about you
man.
that I don't get as, I don't want to say I can still sweat the small stuff. I'm not going to say that.
I understand. I
But
understand.
there's a lot of stuff like you were talking about, yeah, what I loved for you guys missed the best stuff. All the good stuff was before the cameras were rolling.
Yeah, right.
When you were talking about like us as performers, as actors, going like there's always that brass ring thing. It's like, oh, I got to do the next show. If only when is you finally get to a point after going through something like this, and the kind of scars that it leaves, or
But battle scars,
the
man.
battle scars it leaves on your soul. It's hard for you to go, if I lose this job or whatever, I don't care. You know what I mean? I don't have to be anything for you. I don't have to be, I'm not going to lose as much sleep thinking about what you think of me, because I've walked myself through
That's right.
this thing.
That's right.
And it's like, we got to the other side. I deserve a little peace. I deserve a little calm. I deserve to be cut a break. And so I don't know if that's age. I don't know if it's, but I think having been through this thing twice, and it's bad. I mean, when you're bad, and I don't know if I can say this on camera, but I mean, I remember the three questions my doctor asked her. She goes, how much you eat? I'm not. How much you sleep? I don't. She goes, and she said, when's the last time you had any kind of a sexual impulse, period, that you remember? And I couldn't, I couldn't remember.
No.
She goes, yep. There's, the big three. Come on in, talk to me, blah, blah, blah.
Damn.
Yeah.
Well, at least you got somebody sent me something I just said in the last state of mind, but a friend said I should watch 60 Minutes about mental health in children
Oh
who
man.
can't get help. Do you know the amount of suicides that have,
Yeah, I
we
can't.
could talk about Naomi Judd and what just happened with her, and that's just horrific. These kids can't get help, Michael. 4 months to get help, sometimes a year to see a psychiatrist. How quick is it to just end your life?
And it's so dangerous for them too, because they don't have the experience of anything else. I mean, they're in that thing. That's all they've known.
That's
That's
what,
all they,
right.
and I just, I think I've got godchildren, I've got nephews and stuff. I never had kids, but I just think growing up in this world, I think, I don't think it's ever easy. I mean, the hardest job I think you're ever going to have is high school, if you really want to know the truth.
Right.
But it seems to me the pressure that kids live under now, With the promise of what? I mean, I just, because I talked to my nephews and they're like, hey man, from our point of view, it looks like the world is kind of going to hell in a handcart, you know? It's like, you
It's fun.
guys are going to hand us this kind of dry, barren,
Yeah.
fucked up planet. Knock yourself out. Gee, thanks. And they grow up on the God, going to high school. Remember when it was just gossip when you
Yeah.
were at school?
Yeah.
Now it's like in your face on that little box.
Yeah. I get you.
Hours, hours, and hours.
I
So
get you.
it's I feel sad for kids growing up now. Really.
Yeah, and I'm gonna do this eventually here soon, where I'm gonna talk to doctors, kids with their mothers, and that's not just actors. 'Cause I think it's important to do everything.
Yeah, because eventually you do enough of it, then you bring on the actors, and you should have a little chyron that goes, "Don't let this happen to you." If your kid comes home
Yeah.
and tells you he wants to be an actor, you go like, "Oh man, seriously?"
All right, let's get off of.
Okay,
We did a good mental health. That was, and I appreciate what you just said.
I appreciate you.
A
That's
lot
the reason I'm here. I just want to tell you, you have been a presence in my life for a lot of reasons, for a long time as friends, but you don't really realize how much somebody can mean to you until you're just at the lowest and they go,
Yeah.
this is going to happen. That's going to happen. You'll be okay.
Yeah.
And by the way, call me.
Yeah.
The last thing you said was, by the way, next time it's 2 o'clock in the morning, call me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You said, don't be alone. I love that. You go, don't be alone. Whatever you
That's
do,
right.
don't be alone.
But when you tell, I've dealt with quite a few people, helped many, but some I couldn't. That upsets me. But a lot of people you say that to, they just don't call.
Well, it's hard to reach. No, it's true.
But you know what I mean?
But it's hard to do. It's hard to be in that place. It's hard to be that vulnerable. I mean, we grow in this culture. We live in a culture that emphasizes expertise. Like just think about we don't mythologize. I mean, occasionally the Woody Allens get through. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But most of the time, we're thinking about the Clint Eastwoods and the John Waynes. You know what I mean?
Right.
So to say, like I remember telling you this. You're the only person I could say this. When I was in the middle of it, that bullshit, when I was 40, I didn't have the energy to stand up in the shower before I had to go to work. Going to work was the only thing I could do because we'd done it for so long. I knew how to shove lines in my head, and I would go to the studio, and when I wasn't being tad, I'd go down to my dressing room and I'd turn off the light and I'd sit in the dark and listen to new age music to try to like meditate my way out of it. So I knew how to do that. But to get to the studio, I used to have like a panic attack for days and days and days. And I would sit in the bathtub, or I'd be on my knees in the bathtub with the water hit in the back of my head because for some reason it was comforting. I didn't have the energy to stand up in the shower.
Nothing felt good.
It's just so for some reason being in a fetal position with the hot water on the back of my neck felt, man, it's just like, and I remember telling you that, and you were like, yep.
Oh yeah,
it makes sense.
You find only one thing maybe, and that's all you could do that makes you feel good.
Well,
everything else.
So it's hard to admit, it's like we want to be like I got it. So to admit to somebody, it's like, yeah, man, I went to a period of my life where it was like, I don't think I got this.
Michael, this is one of the things. I'm just gonna say it now. I understand some people can't talk about it. Okay, there are things, and that's what I kind of thought. Maybe that's where you were at before. That maybe you didn't want to talk about it or whatever. And I respect that with any actor and stuff. But my feeling is, do you have any idea right now, and I will prove it to you, how many people you are helping by what you're talking about right now? Now, you don't have to answer it. I'm just telling you.
Well, that's the reason I wanted to do this, because
I know that
because the conversation you had with me, it's like you want to say, because civilians, they want to convince you that it's not anybody. It's not happening. You're obsessing about this. It's not. It's like, I don't know. Only somebody who's been there, who's been to the gift shop in hell, who has the T-shirt and the mug,
right,
can say something to you, and you go, oh, okay. Well, if they made their way out of it, so can I.
That's right. And it's people that watch this show, and I know because I read a lot of it,
Hopefully, let me know.
because what they say, and there's a lot that they say, but what they say is they go, "Oh my God, that's exactly what I felt when I was going through what Michael Knight's going through." And he's talking about it now. I don't feel like I'm an alien.
And another thing that we do, because it's like I was going to say, you can always look at when you say you're a soap star. There's a part of you that goes, you know, but then there's a part of me that there's stuff that I start to appreciate the older I get
That's
a
right.
lot, you know.
Yeah.
And the fact is, like for instance, General Hospital is like I called Frank because I wanted to make my insurance. You know what I'm saying? Hey,
Frank Valentini, the executive
Frank, the
producer.
executive producer, is a wonderful man. He was Catherine's boss and for centuries in One Life to Live. And so I've known him. I say, hey, Frank, you got anything I can do? He goes, leave it with me. Calls me up. I got a lawyer, 4 episodes. It's on campus. He's like, that's it. You want to do it? Yeah, absolutely. So, we do the thing and he comes down. I remember like the third episode, he came down to the dressing room and he was like, the fans are kind of happy to see you. You want to stick around. You want to make this a thing. And I was like,
Heck
yeah.
yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So in terms of not only that layered into what we're talking about, these people know you for a long time.
Yes.
People, you get your sense of like you're like a kind of a emotional, not security blanket, but it's like you become a kind of digital family to them. They get to know you. There's something comforting.
Yeah.
They've watched you your whole life.
Sure. Yeah.
You've been a part of their like
Yeah.
maybe God only knows what they went through. They remember watching you, whatever. To know that somebody that you, even though you don't have something in common with, the mind thinks you do, saying, "Oh yeah, I went through this."
It's
It's got to be like, okay, it's not just me. I'm not the
and that's why
because otherwise, sorry, I pause.
that's why the actors that don't want to come on here, I respect it, but I also think if you got something like you had, what you just did was spectacular. I'm telling you, just talking about your stuff, not the Tad stuff, but that's funny and good.
That's
That's
spectacular too.
but I know because some people just don't go to the places you just went to, and you know I don't bullshit. So because you went to those places, it really reaches people.
I hope so.
People are not gonna like they say. We feel we're not alone when they hear you talking, me talking about this stuff that isn't maybe in some people's eyes not macho or it's we're not. No, that's why I talk about
And
it.
I don't know about you, but too, I was talking to Patrick. I was working with Patrick. You know how many brilliant people, like truly,
I love it.
truly brilliant people, have had issues.
Yeah.
I mean, genius performers, and we were like, I remember,
It's on that board right there. When we're done, you'll read that board.
well, just people that have like
Yeah, yeah.
made really, really top-notch talent. I mean, I think there's something in terms of what we do. Like I say, there's something about the eccentric that
We
makes things interesting, and I don't think a sense of that. I don't think an awareness of that comes cheap. You know
no.
what I mean? I think there are a lot of really, really talented people that, maybe miss a beat here and there. And I think it's okay to admit that. Like, it's another thing about getting older that I really like, because when I was in 30, it's like it was 30s and I wanted to be the next whatever. And I'm trying to
Yeah.
desperately
Yeah.
elbow my way into the red carpet. It's like, I've got to be this, I've got to be that. You know, you get to be sage and it's like, no, man, life is tough. I mean, imagine how much easier it would be when you're going through high school going, if you had a class that was just devoted to just saying, there are going to be times in your life, no matter what you do, no matter how good you get, where you're going to feel like a failure.
Right.
It's just part of being human.
Right.
And the fact is, we're all bozos. We're all making us up bozos on this bus. And maybe there's an animal thing going on that you always want to like. Everybody's focused on the alpha, the head of the pack. It's like so we prize we prize expertise. We prize confidence and all this stuff. And you know this after raising kids. You've raised 4 children.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's like this is okay. It just doesn't feel good.
Yeah.
This is okay. This is part of the deal.
Yeah.
This comes with the dinner. It's not just you. So that's the reason why, you said you wanted to do this. And initially I was like, yeah. Cause because I, as a friend, I wanted to say you really, really helped me out and during the dark night
Yeah.
of the soul, and that's a big deal. But I started to get tense talking about it. Like I mean, thinking about it before driving over, and I was like, nah,
But
Mom was cool. I can talk about this. He was like,
it's important to share and be grateful for our suffering.
yeah. Great gratitude is, gratitude is like that's something I've learned the hard way because I had other issues that I had to get over. I was like, gratitude is an action. It really is.
I know.
It's not a place. It's not like a
No,
destination where they
no.
hand you. It's like no, no, no. It's like, for instance, on those days where we're there in the studio so long you can hear the guy polishing the floor. There's a part of you, and you're sitting there lying. You're looking at the holes in the styrofoam ceiling. With the neon lights, and going, "There's got to be another way to make a living." It's like, no, no, wait a minute.
When you were a kid,
Yeah.
you rode a bike into a mailbox.
How do you remember that, dude? How do you remember that?
Because Sonny, what happened? You got cut or something on your face?
Yeah, I have two scars on my chin. That's how you remember. I remember you said, yeah, how'd you get you think it was, if you thought it was really sexy. So, no, I lived at the corner of Hilligus and Russell in Berkeley. And
Oh, Berkeley.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
right.
yeah, it was great. And it was the top of a hill. Hilligus and Russell was the top of a hill. And we had Stingray bicycles with banana seats back in 65, 66. And I used to love to just like take my feet off, just like really hit the speed to go on down this thing. And there was, at the bottom of our block, there was a raised lawn, and there was a mailbox. And I just, like Evil Knievel, I tried to cut across the lawn. I launched myself and landed on this thing. And next thing I know, oh man, what I remember is looking down, because in those days I always wore the same things, Keds and a white shirt. And I looked down and my whole shirt was just red. And it was just.
All right, we're going to conclude this, Michael,
Oh, really? Okay.
on a trip that we made together.
Florida.
No, well, not Florida.
Oh, Disneyland?
No, you don't even know, man.
No, my favorite story with you is like when you and I were like, I got to say, okay, just quick. Go, I'll make it quick.
No, you tell yours and then I'll say.
All right. My favorite story with you is like you and I one day decided we were hooking up out here, and you were on, I think you were on GH. I say, hey, I call you. I say, hey, Mom, let's go down to Disneyland. Let's just go to Disneyland for the day.
Oh, Disneyland.
And you were like, yeah, what the hell? Let's go down. So I picked you up. We drove down there, and we were at the top of that key on Main Street, and this couple came up.
Oh, yeah.
You remember this? And I was like, this couple came up, and they were like, this guy was saying, oh, would you mind? And I was trying to tell you a joke, and I kept trying to get to the punchline, and this guy, and I didn't want to be rude, and this guy's with his wife,
Right.
and he's like, I'm sorry, but would you? And I said, okay. So then I'm still talking to you, and I put my arm around his wife because I'm ready for him to take the picture, the Tad picture and stuff, and nothing happens. And I look up, and this guy is staring at me like, what the, fuck are you doing? And it's like, I realized, A, he has no idea who I am. B, they're German. They're European, and I have there's no way out of that. There's no way what are you going to do? Look at a total stranger and go, no, you don't understand. I'm on a TV show. I'm a big deal. I apologize. I did not mean to grope your wife. That is my favorite.
I remember.
Maurice.
I remember. I tell people all the time.
Only your friends can like see you in at that level of humiliation and love you. So
I've done that actually a few times.
Okay. So what's
the other stories when we went to Ojai?
Yes.
Okay.
Where I grew up, man.
Right.
The rattlesnake.
Now, we might have been a little
skunkweed. Was skunkweed involved?
And what happened was, I get all paranoid anyway, but this is a long time ago, okay? And we were walking, and I
I remember.
And I hear, Momo, what? Get out of the way. What? And I hear, I almost stepped on a rattlesnake.
Yeah.
Oh,
The way I remember it was we were
tell-
walking, you were going, and there was this sound, there was buzz because we were walking through this, we were walking down this trail there was all these reeds and stuff, and we were going down to this place called the Rock Garden. I used to love going down this place. It was at the corner of the soccer field, whatever. But it's in the sticks. It's Ojai, you know what I mean? And you were like, and I remember you going, "What's that?" And I go, "It's a rattlesnake." Next thing I knew, you'd crawled up on my back. He was like, "You know who your friends are?" You were like, you found the only thing you could crawl up on top of, which was me, and you were crawling. You was like,
because I was a little high, man.
Never.
And when you're high, you get even more paranoid.
You're like, yeah, I don't think we ever saw it. We heard it, and I grew up out there, so I knew what a rattlesnake was. Yeah, I remember.
Then we went up to the top of the hill.
Oh,
and we were in the car listening. They don't need no.
With Pink Floyd. Yeah.
Hey, leave the upstairs alone. And I'm like, wow.
At that point, I was having a good time messing with your head. I'm convinced. It's like,
all right.
All right.
Listen, Michael Knight. I just want to say about Michael. This has been, every time I do an interview, it's like, I think this is probably all around interview, like top
30. Gotta be.
Top 50, I think. It's like, just, it's something about Michael.
It's 28, man. It's a solid 28.
But it was, I didn't expect Michael to be so deep and candid about certain things. And like I told him before, that's when it really, really hits for so many people out there that have mental illness, and feel like they're just by themselves and they don't understand what it is. And I appreciate that mostly with Michael. I knew we'd have this funny stuff and we laugh all the time, but I really appreciate that.
I loved you a lot. You've been a friend for a long time, man. As I got to say, I'm glad we made it past the giggles, because I was like,
I know, yeah.
That Vonnegut thing. It's like the scariest thing is to wake up and, find your senior class around the world. And I've been proud of you for a long time. Proud that you and I are friends. But this is really cool that life is I've circled, the Eddie has brought me around to this place where you and I can just sit there and marvel at the road, man. Because it's like, life is something else.
It's something else.
Yeah.
And you got to figure it out. Otherwise
or at least learn how to enjoy the ride every once in a while.
Yeah.
That's
all right, bro.
I love you, baby.
Thank you, man.